Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't have any questions for the good chairman of transportation. I think everybody has asked my questions, but I do have a few comments. There was some umbrage taken when Representative Devlin mentioned throwing everything against the wall to see what stuck. And I might not have chosen those words myself, but we have seen a rapidly morphing toll plan. We went from trucks only to cars and trucks to 84, 91, 95 in the merit, and then maybe not the merit, and then perhaps a 3 or 4 year freeze on the toll rate. And as a result, if we're making more revenue, a gas tax reduction, and the latest we hear are free buses. We are, as my colleagues have pointed out, being asked to vote on something, as is so often described in this building, as a work in progress. But what kind of work in progress is going to put this kind of financial burden on our residents? Wearing another hat as ranking member of General Law, I saw the latest iteration of our retail marijuana bill yesterday, which is heavily focused on serving and providing economic opportunity to our underserved communities. What kind of burden do you think a tolling plan is going to put on the residents of those communities? 70% of low-income people commute to work in their cars. I heard the 40% of out-of-state residents will be paying. It's only 60% of in-state residents who will be paying tolls. 100% of Connecticut residents will see the increased costs that businesses incur through this tolling system. If you get heating oil delivered, if you go to the grocery store, if you go out to eat, do we think these businesses are going to eat the cost and say, oh, I'm not going to put my prices up to you, to the consumer? This is going to have an impact on everyone in the state, whether they get in a car or not. Representative Carney pointed out a per capita cost. That doesn't include the increased costs that are going to come from the costs that businesses face. I heard that major business organizations and universities and large corporations are in favor of tolling. Has anyone talked to the small and medium-sized businesses that make up 80% of the businesses in our state, that create most of the jobs? I don't think so. When I talk to businesses in my district, they are almost, I will take the almost out. They are universally opposed to this plan. Last week we voted on increasing the minimum wage, meaning they're facing a 25% increase in their labor costs over the next 16 months. Here we're talking about tolls. I won't even mention some of the other ideas out there that are going to harm our small and medium businesses that are the lifeblood of this state. We talked about reducing congestion, and that we'll figure out how much congestion is being reduced, because this is the whole point of the congestion pricing. If I understand correctly, we haven't even been able to find out how many cars the so-called busway to nowhere has taken off 84 and 91. And how long has that been going? Anyway, and my final comment, we talk about a budget deficit in this state, and that occupies a lot of our time. But I think for our residents, the deficit we have is a trust deficit. They have seen year after year and time after time that this is going to fix our financial situation. Whether it was the income tax, whether it was lottery, whether it was the casinos, whether it was more income tax increases, changes to the sales tax. Now tolls are going to be the panacea that's going to fix our transportation infrastructure. Is there any reason to doubt why our residents doubt us? So I've said enough. I know we have to get out of this building, but as you will have guessed, I am adamantly opposed to this, and I would urge my colleagues to vote against it for all the reasons I earlier stated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.